Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Thank you so much to anybody who joined in with the live stream on Sunday, a couple of days ago now. We had such a lovely time. Me and my son Tommy helped me, and everybody sort of was so interactive in the chat. It just made it really fun for us. So yeah, thanks ever so much, and thank you to anybody who's joining in and making their own trash dolls as well. I love the idea that other people are putting their own spin on this. Please remember to that you can post photos on the Arty Farty Facebook page. I'll leave a link to that in the description box of this one, and you need to click on the community tab at the top of the page to see what other people have posted, because otherwise you'll only see what I've posted myself. So I thought I'd come back, show you how I got on with the one that I managed to not quite finish on the day. I had such big ideas of how much I was going to get through, and you just don't. You never get through as much as you think you're going to, especially when you're live and you're interacting with the chat and everything, which is the whole point of it really. So I thought I'd come back, show you how that one got on, and then go through a few more and sort of speed through the process a bit, just to make sure I explained everything properly, because I'm not sure I did on the day. So enough waffling. So here's how Queenie turned out, as I'm calling her. So I will never be able to look at her now without remembering the weekend of the Platinum Jubilee and the day that we did our live stream. So that'd be really nice. I think our actual Queen might be a bit offended or confused by this. It's not meant to be offensive, but I love her. She does stand, but she's not that sturdy, so I think I'm going to end up turning another box into like a plinth for her to stand on, and then on the plinth I'll be able to also put her name. I'll either put Queenie, or I'll put Queen of Hearts, or Platinum Jubilee 2022, or maybe, I think it was Mary suggested, somebody suggested putting I'm starving, because she's got forks forks for arms. I've given her a little pearl necklace and some bunting. She's got that strange kind of confused look, which I find quite endearing. Couldn't decide between a flowery hat or a crown, so I kind of did both. You can just see it there actually. That's the top off a gin bottle. I understand she'd prefer a do bonnet actually, from what I read somewhere. So I made that the base of the crown. A little bit of I've got some left, just a metallic card, and I've got a drawer full of artificial flowers and things I don't use anymore, so I just hot glued those on. These were bits from my sister's broken sandal. She thought it was very amusing. I've still got bits of that. Talk about never throw anything away. I think I need to just put a little dab of glue on this twine to hold it. Since the stream I added the legs on that I'd only just sort of started to make, and I'd done a stack of buttons. So this roll was shorter than this roll, so I built up the buttons to make the length the same, and that's about it for her. There's her little heart there, her little I cannot think where I got that from, but it was in amongst my drawer full of, I won't get the whole drawer out again, but basically I've got drawers full of rubbish like this, all kinds of things that I couldn't bear to throw away, and they're perfect for this kind of project. There's some stacked up buttons I'd hot glue together at some point for something else. Obviously that didn't work out. I've taken them off and saved them, so they'll probably get used for the shoes for another one. And the colours go nicely with that one, don't they? Okay, so I'm going to leave her there looking at me for inspiration with her slightly bewildered look. And I'm going to just sort of go through the stages of the process, and then finish off a few of the ones that just needed either kind of mending or finishing that I had in my box that had been languishing in the garage for months, if not years, before Dolores encouraged me to bring these out again. Thank you, Dolores. I will leave a link to Dolores' channel as well, because I think she filmed some of she was going to make some as well, and I think she filmed it. So and she's also got a hashtag DJR Paper Doll Art. I think I've remembered it this time, which you could also tag if you're posting any pictures. So let's crack on with the fun part. So if you didn't see the other day, what you need is a collection of junk out of your recycling, basically. So I've got old pill boxes, empty cotton reels. Oops, there's a cheese box here. I could use both pieces of this separately. Bottle tops and jar tops of various shapes and sizes, empty toilet rolls. I've got these tubes. I think I grabbed them at work. I've also got that I grabbed from work. Now I appreciate not everybody works in a shop, but lots of people know people who work in the shops, and these till roll middles just get binned. And I just couldn't bear to see them just keep going in the bin. I thought, I'm going to take some home to see if I can do anything. Well, they're absolutely perfect for these legs. Although, if you don't have them, of course, there are lots of other ways you could do it. Some people are going to use straws. You could use empty biros. You could you just, as soon as you start doing this kind of thing, you look at everything with a different eye. And where's Twiggy? So this one here it is. Twiggy, she was my favourite, although I don't know, you see, she's going to be competing with Queenie now. I bet Twiggy's actually met the Queen. Anyway, so Twiggy's legs were made just with rolled up just copy paper, just cheap printer paper, which I painted on, but you could use a marker. I really wanted this whole project to be very accessible. Oh, they look so comfortable together. They've just nestled together like this. Twiggy's word says flower power. Yeah, I wanted this to be really accessible so that, you know, anybody could have a go at it. In fact, you could even do it totally if you work in a shop or you work in an office. I bet you could put a trash doll together. One idea I want to try with the legs is to use these till roll middles, and then like a sheet of printable labels. That is like just like Avery labels, you know. Most offices and shops and things, you'll have that kind of thing. I'm not saying go and steal all the supplies from your office, but there's always bits that end up going in the bin because they're half used or whatever. Just don't grab them from the bin, take them home. Show them some love, make them into something else. But I did think I could just draw stripes with a marker on those paper labels and just wrap that around one of these till roll middles to finish it off. So I might try one of those just to see, to show that it works really. So yeah, you need bases like that kind of thing. This one was a jewellery box, and actually I think that's probably it's the lid of that one. This is one Asad and I started the other day. Tom covered these two. So first thing you need to do is use some, getting this back again, is use some, I like text paper, you know, an old book or something. Now some of these, I had an old, like a trigonometry textbook or something, and that you can see. I get a lot of old book pages like this because I use the covers for art journals and things, but I never throw them away. You can always find a use for them. But if you haven't got anything like that, like Dolores suggested using, you know, the really thin paper you get inside these medicine boxes with the instructions and contraindications and stuff, you could use that. You could use text torn out of a newspaper or magazine, anything really. I mean, you could not do it. I just think it gives you a really good base. So that's the first thing, to cover this with paper. Now the other day I used a huge bottle of cheap PVA. This is exactly the same thing. I think I got this in the pound shop, and I used the brush to put it on, but you could use your fingers, you know. I quite like getting PVA on my fingers. So I did that, and if you want it to be really durable, you can just brush another coat of the PVA kind of over the whole of the top, just to give it a really good coat, but you'll need to leave that to completely dry before you move on. So in the interest of speed today, I'm going to do the other option, which Tom discovered worked really well, which was just to use a glue stick. And again, this is a cheapy one that I got. Look, it's the same brand. I got from the pound shop again, I believe. I think I had a whole pack of them. It wasn't like one for £1, it's a whole pack of them for £1. You just tear the paper up, and yeah, Tom found that the Pritt stick option worked really well, and of course we didn't have to wait for it to dry, you know. And you just stick it on there. Try and wrap it round the edges a bit. That didn't work so well with the Pritt stick, and I think, did Tom have to trim it in? No, he's managed to make some of them go. You have to kind of encourage it to stay put a bit. I think overall, I think the PVA kind of long term is probably better, but if you haven't got it, you can definitely make this glue stick work. And as I say, you want to try and go over the edges. It will go over the edges if you don't just like leave a really tiny bit to go over, because it will want to spring back. Leave a longer bit. That'll help it to encourage it to stick better. So you just work through and do that until you've covered the whole thing. And you get little bits coming up, just go back in and, you know, add a bit more glue. And like Tom said the other day, what you could do is just do this as the first layer, then add your colour, and then you could add a coat of something over the top afterwards if you just want to make it a bit more durable. Because this isn't just decorative, it does give an extra layer of kind of strength to the box as well. These are now, that started off as a medicine box, and it's now really quite rigid actually with that layer of PVA and glue. So I won't bore you with sitting there watching that right now. Put that to one side and I can come back to that. I will have to do a bit more of this because I need to be able to show you the colouring. Okay, I'll do a bit more and then I'll edit it out. I don't want to make you watch paint dry. And doing this is really, you know, you can just put a bit of something on to watch. I'm binge watching Stranger Things at the moment. Gone right back to the first series and started again. Just put something on like that and just go through and do a whole load of these, get them ready and then move on to the next stage. You know, it's a really nice little project to do while you're watching something else, or to do if you're having a bit of a crafting session with friends, all sat around a table, put all the bits and bobs in the middle and work together. You know, lovely thing for kids to do as well. I think kids would really enjoy doing this, and they've got such good imaginations. It was one of the really nice things about doing this with people in joining us live, was that people were making lots of suggestions. Oh, couldn't you try that box the other way around, or what about if you put this there, or, you know, use that colour, or you know. And I think when you're in a group of friends, you know, you do the same thing. Okay, I don't want to go on with that too much. I want to move on to the next stage to show you. So the next thing is to add some colour, and there's different ways you can do that. I did do, so this one, Queenie, was just done with felt pens. So, and this is a set of felt pens that I bought years ago. I know it was so long ago, I know it was before I'd even met my husband, so it's at least 12 years ago. And it's just a set of water-based felt pens. They've got a brush at one end and a finer point at the other. And what you can do is, you can either, if you've got your layer of PVA and it's dried, you could scribble over. But I think if I scribbled over directly onto the paper with this, it probably just would sink straight into the paper. So what I tend to do is scribble it onto, I've got my glass mat. You could use a bit of foil or plastic film, or anything non-porous basically, and then just add a bit of water. I'm using a brush. If you really haven't got a brush, you could just use your fingers. It's actually not as definite colour as I thought. There you go. So you can add colour that way, and that looks just as nice as some of the inks and things that I've got. I ended up with very colourful hands the next day. So that's that idea. I've also got some of these art crayons, which I might use. I've got these woody stabilos, so you scribble over and then you activate with water with these. These art crayons are lovely. They go on like lipstick and again activate with water, so I love using them. I've fun with that one. So oh yeah, I think this one was probably done with distress inks. These ones were done with acrylic paints. This one was acrylic paint, so that was a cheap acrylic craft paint. This was quite expensive golden paints I liked because they've got that sort of sheen to them. And and they're very transparent. But I mean, this hasn't got the sheen, but you could add a finish if you wanted that. But it's certainly vivid enough colour, and that was just really cheap craft paint, watered down a little bit to make it transparent. Yeah, so that one was the felt pens. This one I think was Distress Inks, and that's probably paint at the top. Whatever you've got to add colour. Inks, you could just do it just with Distress Inks, definitely. And then I like to add a bit of definition around the edges of the box, of the boxes and bits and pieces as well. These ones, I had a whole load of empty cotton spools, ribbon spools, sorry, that I hadn't been able to bring myself to throw away, didn't know what to do with, so you might not have those, but you know, you might find a jar lid or a cheese box lid, or I don't know, yeah, once you start thinking about it and looking at things in a different way as you're about to chuck them in the recycling, you won't be able to throw anything away. So I also sometimes like to add a little bit of stamping. I've added a bit of stamping there for texture. And then I showed on the other side you could do it just with bubble wrap, but that's done with bubble wrap, and I just scribbled a felt pen over it. So if you haven't got ink or stamps and things, you can, you know, make do with what you've got. You haven't got to go out and buy loads of stuff. And I reckon kids would enjoy that just as much. I think adults would enjoy that just as much. So then I used just a pigment ink pad like this, and I just swiped it around the edges to give some definition like that. I just like that look. I always like a bit of contrast, but again, if you didn't have that, if I go back to the felt pens, you could run a felt pen along it like that, and then just use a little bit of water. It'll take a little bit more work to do it, but it's perfectly possible. I actually really enjoy trying to make do with what I've got. I think necessity definitely is the mother of invention, for sure. So that's those two stages. This one we left the inside black because it was a black jewellery box, so we left it black because we thought that would be a nice background anyway. But with some of them I like to paint the insides a contrast colour. This one I gave her wheels, which she will actually stand up on. So yeah, it's nice to paint a contrast colour, but as I say, if the colour is all right already. Lots of people were saying about maybe covering them with scraps of fabric. You could use up really tiny scraps of fabric. You could use gift wrap. I think Tom suggested napkins. That's really good, because I keep a lot of pretty napkins, and if you take that just the top layer of napkin off and stick it on with, you'd need a brush and some PVA, I think, for that. That wouldn't work with Pritt Stick. Whatever you've got, see what you can find to just add colour to these base pieces. Then it's time to start kind of assembling them into body shapes, and just thinking about which shapes go with which. So you need something for the head, and something for the body, and then you can either make separate legs, or you could just have you could have this in 3 pieces. You could have a stack of boxes. We even thought, you know, we were really brainstorming during the live, you could just stack the pieces up, they needn't necessarily be joined. And then we came up with the idea of having magnets between them so they would clip together. And then someone said, oh, put magnets on the back and they could you could attach them to a fridge. It's brilliant, the ideas that were coming out. You can see the difference in size with some of these, and I like both. I like the big ones because there'll be lots of space to put things inside. So the kind of things I'm thinking of putting inside, well, I mean, I've even got a little broken kind of novelty clock. It was a working little clock at one point, but you know, even that would fit inside one of these, and I'd probably kind of rust it up and things a bit, you know, distress it, make it look a bit more interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just limitless, really. There's so much scope for what you could do with this. Some of the people that were there that were watching the live were saying about doing little stitching pieces, little rows of lace, or tiny patchworks. You could do stuff like that. Oh, I definitely want to try one that's just made with office supplies. So I used, for quickness, I've got this really humdinger hot glue gun, which I love. I appreciate not everybody's got that. You could just do it with a strong glue or something. You'll need something more than the Pritt stick to stick these pieces together. But you could possibly, certainly if it's like flat boxes being stuck together, so with these you could definitely experiment with using even paper clips, or you could use like split pins to put them together, or staples in certain, but yeah, make do with what you got. And as I say, if all else fails, you don't really even need to stick them together, you could just stack them up. But yeah, the hot glue gun is brilliant for this. So let's put one together quite like that. I might just go with that as the basic body, and then I'll end up with two little legs like that. Or I could think about a piece of cotton meal, so that would stand. But the most difficult thing is making your mind up about stuff. You could have two cotton reels. Actually, those kind of cotton reels that I think of as the Dreamer shape or the Gutermann shape cotton spools, which are longer, and they would make excellent legs as well, wouldn't they, thinking about it. I think with this one I'm going to go that way. So with some of them, where I've used a full box, so like this one will be, I've cut a shape from patterned paper. So I've got, because I used to do a lot of scrapbooking and card making and things, I've got a lot of scraps of paper like this. So I've added that. I've done a little bit of stamping over the top to kind of merge it in with the background, and I've given a bit of an outline. I think I used an Inktense pencil. That's the wrong colour. A black Inktense pencil. A bit of fun of black. There it is. So this one is ink black. There we go. The thing with Inktense is you can buy these singly. If you really like the look of one of these, you can just buy a single pencil with these if you go to an art shop. But yeah, let's show you on here. You basically just, you use it like a normal coloured pencil, but when you activate it with water, it turns it into ink, and it becomes, the colours become very vivid. The black becomes very deep black. So what I've done to get this kind of effect is I've gone around the edges with an Inktense pencil, and then I've activated it with water. But you could do that with felt pens again, or even with a permanent marker, a Sharpie or something. If you're quick, you can move it, especially if it's on a non-porous surface. So just experiment. With these, where you've got the whole kind of solid closed box, I like to put a body on the front. I did the same with this one, and I've actually added a little bit of lace to the bottom of that one. And then I like to add a word as well to it. Now, as far as words are concerned, I've got these sheets here which I printed off from Dolores' blog. I will leave a link to that below. Lots of kind of cute words, motivational words and things that you can cut out and use. Again, if you haven't got access to a printer or whatever, just cut words out of magazines or out of greetings cards, or write them on, whatever. So for the faces, for this first batch that I made ages and ages ago, I think I just typed in vintage female faces or something, or retro faces or something like that, and just got all of these images and printed them off. This time what I've done is I've gone on, because it's quicker, I've gone on to Etsy and I've bought these, which you can print off in different sizes. If you go onto Etsy and just put in printable faces, you'll get loads of options come up. If you don't like creepy dolls and clowns, there are lots of other things you could use instead. And with this, there was an option to print it off in lots of different sizes, so I printed a couple of different sizes out. I've probably got a circle punch that will fit those. With these, I just freehand cut them, and that's what I've used on the Queenie. So with this one, I won't need to do a body because I've got this sort of empty middle, and I will end up putting something interesting in the middle of that. So the face has got to go on here. So which one shall I go for? One that will look all right with the yellow. Let's go for that. And I'm just going to check whether one of the big ones would fit on there actually. Let's just go with this one. Yeah. I think I'll go for the big one because I just think it has more oomph to it. Because these ones I got to make little pendants with. Actually, this size I thought would be good for making pendants, and I've already bought the little bezeled kind of things to do that with. So yeah, I'm going to go for this one. Oh, cute. Because if I then go over with ink again there, that'll just sort of merge that in, and I could always get a little not nail file, emery board, and just like sand off the edge just to trim it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to Pritt stick that on because that definitely seemed to be the quickest method when we did it the other day. Let's go that way. Another base layer that's nice to use is old sheet music, if you've got any, or if you can, if you go online, you can actually put in printable sheet music and just print some off to use, and that can look really nice, especially if the theme of your doll was something musical, you know. I've stuck that face on. I'm just going to do the edges again just to merge it in. I'm going to ink around the rest of these, basically all of the straight lines. I'm deliberately tipping the ink pad so it just kind of goes over the flat surface a little bit as well. So you could totally do that with a felt pen or something. And then to make the face where I've done here, you can see the face is more defined because I've done the trick with the Inktense pencil. Okay, just a little bit of water just to activate that Inktense. Bring it down a little bit. And it just sort of, I don't know, just helps to sort of bed it into the background a bit, I think. Now with this one, I just stuck the spool straight onto the top with hot glue. You can see I've done it quite messily, but like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to me anyway. Might be a bit more careful if I was going to do it as a present or something, I don't know. With this one, I've used a little empty small ribbon spool there to create a neck, and then I put that little string of pearls around it. But you could just stick it straight on like that, which I think is probably what I'm going to do this time. I could use a little, I think I threw some in here, add a tiny, this is another one, I can't wait to use this, an obviously blown, used light bulb that I couldn't bring myself to throw away, and they're so hard to get rid of anyway, aren't they? But I thought, well, it will sit inside one of these little boxes, or like on top of a head, or it almost ended up in the Queen's crown actually. So here's a little vanilla essence top, so bottle, so I could take the top off of that, and that could create a neck, couldn't it? I think that's quite nice actually. I'm going to do that. It smells lovely. I don't usually worry about arms, but I just happen to have, for Queenie here, I just happen to have these two sushi forks, and I just thought, yep, gotta be done, because we were going with the red, one blue. I know that I've got like the Netherlands flag and then the French flag, and it was meant to be celebrating the Jubilee, but all I could think was red, white and blue. I didn't really think any further than that, so not meaning any offence, you know. Right, so I'm going to put my hot glue gun to heat up now. Meanwhile, I'm going to try out that idea with the sticky labels. So while that's heating up, let's have a go at the sticky label idea. So as luck would have it, that sticky label is exactly the right size for the for the tube. So if you do happen to know someone who works in a shop and you ask them to collect their till rolls, this is, in our case, this is the one that comes out the card machine, and then there's longer ones. So the Queenie's longer leg was one of the ones that comes out of the actual till, which are a bit longer. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I need 2 legs. And then I'm going to cut this label in half that way. Peel it off. Lay it on like that and just wrap it round. Brilliant. I've got a bit of a seam, but I don't care about that. How easy is that? Yeah, piece of cake. Well, that was a genius idea, I don't mind saying myself. There we go. They even match, don't they, because I basically drew them at the same time. So my hot glue gun should be, whoops, yes, it's definitely ready now. Yeah, let's add in a dab of glue, push my button, bump. So that's going to be the front, so let's have it that way. I do love hot glue, it's so instant and so strong. Love it. Don't want to get it on my fingers because it is really hot. Put that down there. If my sister Mandy happens to end up watching this reminds me of you when you were a toddler. Blue eyes, one colour eyes, but something about the expression. So then I like to add buttons on the bottom for feet, but you could just you could create a plinth with something and do that. That's quite fun actually. I quite like that. But I might want that plinth for a head. It might be more useful as a head, but I do quite like the way that's standing. But yeah, something to, I mean, it will just stand there like that. I just like to finish it with some kind of feet. I just like that. And really that is the basis of it done. Now it's just a question of adding decorative elements. I'm thinking I quite fancy making little dealy boppers for this one. I've got this spring. You know, you get those springs inside of biros, the clicky, the retractable type ballpoint pens. Those little springs. Oh, I thought I had some of them somewhere. I might have a little dig because they'd make excellent little dealy boppers for this one, wouldn't they? I've got all sorts of beads and googly eyes and things like that I can use. I could create some kind of effect of hair with it. Yeah, there's so many things I can do with this. But I think this video will already be quite long enough because I've been recording for about 3/4 of an hour. I will try and get that down to about 20 minutes. So this is just basically showing you the basis of the doll, and then you can just do you can see how much scope there is. You can do whatever you like with it. So I'm gonna sign off now and go and sort dinner out, and then I'm gonna come back upstairs, carry on binge watching Stranger Things and finish off all of these dolls, and then I will finish up, probably it'll be tomorrow now. I will come back and just show you through the ones that I've finished making. Hello and welcome back to my craft room. It's a lovely bright sunshiny morning today. I'm off to see my son in a minute, but I thought I'd come back and show you how I got on with my trash dolls. Yesterday it was raining all day, so good excuse to spend the entire afternoon in my craft room finishing these little trash dolls off, and I'm really chuffed with how they turn. They just make me smile to look at them. I'm going to have to find space in here somewhere for them now. You'll have seen a quick look at them from the thumbnail of the video, and I will put some more pictures at the end. So you can see how they look as well, left to right. Now this one isn't finished, but I'm going to finish her off because I like the idea. It's just that it will take me quite a while. I want to kind of rustify the clock and make it all really steampunky, and I just think that's going to be quite a long project. So I'm going to put that one to one side and come back to it. Here's my old Twiggy you've seen before. She was my favourite from the first batch I made. Okay, so I'll try and explain as I go along what I've kind of used in each one. So these two are buttons. I coloured that one black. You can see it was like an orangey colour. A couple of drinking straws there, and oh, I need to re-glue a bit there. A little bit of a fringy trim that I just sort of bunched up together to make like Nutty Professor looking hair. One of those faces I printed off from Etsy. Spent light bulb, yeah, drinking straws, buttons, and a matchbox. And I could put a little the matchbox makes a perfect plinth to make it all a bit more stable actually, but I could put something in there, couldn't I? I could put a message in there or a little present in there and give it as it'd be an interesting way of wrapping a little pair of earrings or something, wouldn't it? Anyway, right, so that's that one. Electric Baby. Kind of looks a bit like a beetle as well, I think. So these little nubbles came off of an old clothes horse that got all broken, and I thought, oh, save those little bits, bet they'll be handy for something. These are the screwdrivers that I got out of a cracker. It was a set of 3, so still one left. Just wire that I curled around a knitting needle and then threaded some beads on. To me it looks vaguely like bits and pieces you find inside electronic things, computers and stuff. I don't know. The same here. And then I threaded on some letter beads there that say the word shine, and then inside is a bit of broken up, I think it might have been inside a phone or something, an old phone. Yep, so that's that one. I put a barcode on the bottom, I'm not quite sure why. That's that one. And this one I like to call Slurp. Yeah. So that's an embellishment I made out, one of many that I made out of an old bag I was going to throw away years ago. I think it was a really ancient blog post I did about that, quite a few years ago now. And I turned it all into embellishments, everything, the lining, the zip, the outer, the handles, everything. And this was one of them. Just an artificial flower that I cut, more of that trim, obviously drinking straw. This was the till roll idea with the sticky labels, with those just stripes of permanent marker. That worked really well. This is the old book spine, pom-poms cut off a trim to make the hands, and a couple of tonic bottle tops for feet. Honey, she's one of my favourites. That's the next one I made after Queenie actually. I was really chuffed with her. Again, same kind of legs with the stack of buttons for the feet. Use the hot glue gun a lot. A couple of I've got a whole pack of these, big pack of these different coloured kind of leaf skeletons. Raided my flower drawer, still got loads of flowers left. That's why there's quite a lot of flowers in these, I think. More of that pom-pom trim and some little pom-poms out of Kitty's craft kit. Beads threaded onto a bit of wire there to make the kind of feelers. That's the box I think Tom covered, these two. Yeah, these are the boxes Tom covered on a live stream. One of the words from Dolores printable word sheet of her blog. I'll leave a link to that again as well. That's it. And then this one's called Laughter. Well, I put the word laughter on her. Hang on. Oops, let's show it to the camera. I put the word laughter on the heart, and I like the way it dangles. I just hot glued a jump ring to the top. It was the easiest way to do it in the end, and it's pretty solid. And then use one of these kind of split rings to add the add the heart. And this is a heart I made out of grunge board that I ran through my Cuttlebug with an embossing folder and then did different paint effects on. So I did it years ago, and I've had that knocking around. So these are the more of those tops off of room fragrance of bottles, drinking straw, which threads actually all the way through. It was quite easy to make a hole in the board. I just started a hole off with my pokey tool and then got a needle file in there and just sort of rimmed it out. There's some more of that pom-pom trim around the edges, the till roll middle legs again. Just a bow that I made up out of a really, you can use such small scraps of ribbon. More of this stuff. I had loads of this stuff. I can't remember why. I think it came in a pack. Didn't know what to do with it, but it's been perfect for this. And then some more buttons on the wire to make these little kind of feeler things. Now this is one that I had kind of made before, but I've now sort of mended her, given her some proper feet, put her on a plinth, which is the jewellery box lid. Glued her wings back on, but other than that I didn't do anything to her. She was kind of already done. But yeah, it's just using up knickknacks on there. Oh, this one. Ooh, sorry, Queenie. Queenie's not too stable. I think I'm gonna have to make a plinth for her. She's the only one that keeps falling over. So this one, I'm a bit nuts with this one. So I'd already got, this body was already done, and the legs, and it's glued onto just a piece of card, which does make it a lot more stable. More of that book spine cut up for arms, that worked really well. Really can't ever throw anything away. And then I just got more of those kids craft kit pom-poms. It was like a craft kit that I got in the pan shop or something. These were cut off of this trim again. I've got a different colour of it, and then it's just a loop of wire which I just hot glued. It doesn't look so good from the back, but it won't matter because you won't see it from the back. And then I had to glue it to the top of the head as well, otherwise it would have kept flipping back and forth. But yeah, hot glue is definitely my friend in this project. That's that one. Here's Sending the Clouds. He was one of the old ones, but I've now put him on a plinth to make him more stable. I've glued his wings back on, and I've added this acrylic heart which I happen to have. And then oh, Queenie's dropped a bunting. I was going to glue that on, wasn't I? I forgot. Okay, so so there they are, all of my let's put you all out here. That's all my trash dolls from yesterday afternoon. I hope you got some ideas there and enjoyed watching that, and I hope you'll have a go yourself, and don't forget to share them on the Facebook page if you'd like to. I'll leave a link to that as well. Okay, I probably said all that yesterday, I can't remember now. So thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you again very soon.